Construction on the Grand Hotel in Caledon, British Columbia, Canada began in 1912, but it was never completed. It's one thing to have a vision, it's another thing to develop something fully. And I include here in the actual article a picture of the structure that still stands there. It's just concrete structure. You can see the forms where the windows would go, but it never got past that stage, and that was 1912. Almost everyone stops at, I get it. This is the vision stage. We humans are really good at coming up with ideas. For example, I'm going to learn French. And we're really good at imagining what it will be like to have mastered French and to use it at any time. We're not so good at putting in the time to get from point A to point B. We have the vision, we see how good it will be, we take a few steps and realize this is a long-term project and give up. We move on, or we get distracted. It's natural. That's what we humans do. But success comes quickly, too. I personally have been studying French since 2017, just doing about 30 minutes a day. I started with online apps and courses, and now I meet one-on-one with an excellent French teacher twice a week. And it's amazing how little by little I've made progress. It's slow, but it doesn't take as long as you think to make significant progress. So why am I talking about this? The same issue comes up when doing the work. We humans, we want a shortcut. We want it to be enough to just get it when doing the work. Oh, I get it. It's a recognition of the vision. But it's not a substitute for actually taking the steps to realize the vision in daily life. Here's one way it shows up. It's very common when doing the work to think, oh, I worked that one before, or I should know this by now. I've worked it already. This is like saying, I've seen the word in French for house before. I should remember it. What's wrong with me? Why can't I remember it? But the mind doesn't work that way. If you want to learn French and you want to learn the French word for house, I'm going to need to hear that word a lot of times in different contexts. It's the repetition that starts to build the memory. When enough easy repetition without beating myself up is completed, then the neural network is built and I can easily access the word maison, house, anytime. It's the same with the work. I may have trouble saying no, for example. So I pick a stressful situation where I had trouble saying no, and I do the work on my stressful thoughts. This first pass gives me some clarity, and I start to get it. Fantastic, I say, I'm done. But that was just the beginning. In all likelihood, I will be presented with a new situation again soon where I, once again, am unable to say no. When that happens, I may think, oh, I already did the work on this. I should know how to do this already. This cuts short the learning process. Now, instead of seizing a wonderful new opportunity to take my understanding to a new level, I end up judging myself and feeling frustrated that I don't know it already. I forget that in order to get something into my muscles and bones, I need more than just one exposure to it. When I study my French using an app, I usually listen to each lesson about 5 or 6 times until I became very familiar with it, until it became so familiar to me that it felt natural. This was slower even than my app recommended, but it worked so well for me. I may be slow to learn, but once I've built a new structure of knowledge, I can go away from it for a long time, and it's still right there at my fingertips. So when I do the work, I don't worry about whether I've already done this piece of work already. I just dive in and do it again. I'm not stopping at, I get it, or I already did this. I'm building a complete structure in my mind. Why would I stop halfway? How this looks in practical terms. There are 2 main ways this shows up for me. 1, working a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet thoroughly. When working through a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, I could easily stop doing the work after I question my line 1 statement. After that piece of work, I often do get it quite nicely. But instead, I usually take several weeks to question each statement on my worksheet, even if it is redundant. In fact, it is the redundancy that I appreciate. The mind learns through repetition. Also, each statement that I wrote on my worksheet reveals another flavor of my stressful thinking. Doing the work on each line often reveals new insights related to the main topic. It's amazing how many new and interesting insights I get, even when working basically the same subject over and over again with each piece of my worksheet. Slowly, it becomes more and more clear. It becomes a part of my muscles. And secondly, the other way that doing the work kind of like in terms of making this a practice and not just stopping at I get it, comes up when I'm doing the work on similar situations again and again. There are certain situations that come up again and again for me, and I've done the work on them in the past, often many times, but I still get triggered when faced with them in real life. This just means that I may have a handicap in this area, and therefore I need even more exposure to the work in this area. This is the time to be extra patient with myself. If I got triggered again, no matter how many times I've done the work on similar situations, it means that I'm still not getting it, even though my intellect will tell me that I get it. So the proof is in my reaction. If there's a reaction, it means something inside of me still doesn't get it. Something inside of me is still getting triggered. And so something inside of me still needs to do the work. Doesn't matter how many times I've done it before. This is what practice is for. It's for creating something new. The intellect, on the other hand, is for understanding what's already there. But practice is for building something from scratch, creating a new structure where there was nothing before. And that has always been done through repetition. The key lies in understanding that repetition is necessary in the process of relearning how to see the world, and in giving as much time as it takes without pressure to get it done. When I hold this attitude of infinite patience with the process, I get out of my own way and I can really dig in and make some progress. Join us for deep practice. The Work 101 is my in-depth online course for diving into the work and making it more of a practice. You will get a chance to test this idea of slow, steady practice in the course, and you will gain a lot of understanding of how to do the work in the course. Join us if you're interested in building something new. And I'll end with a quote from Byron Katie, the founder of the work. And this is from her book, Loving What Is. When practiced for a while, inquiry takes on its own life within you.